Evil unmasks who we are. It tells us that we are human, contrasted with other constituents of animated reality. First of all, evil tells us we're not animals. Now, you may act like an animal, but we're not animals. Animals don't have the privilege of what we call self-consciousness or historical consciousness or self-recognition or self-identity. They don't look into a mirror or into a television camera and wonder what they said wrong or if their hair is unkempt. For example, on a race course, when a horse breaks its leg, we try to put it out of its misery, euthanize it. But if the jockey breaks his leg, they try to bring him care, to give him healing. The power of reflection, which distinguishes human beings from animals, allows us to experience intellectual pain over evil. Why should good things happen to bad people and bad things happen to good people? In fact, the power of reflection will allow us to know what the status of evil is. Evil has no independent status. Evil is abstract in concept, but when it is in reality found, it's always found in an embodiment. We only have evil persons, evil things, evil actions, but not evil on its own. Let me show you this point. I've got a piece of paper with me. It's a perfectly good sheet of paper. But let's say there was a tear that occurred, and you find that the paper has become bad or not usable or evil. But what I'm trying to tell you is that evil does not have existence outside the good. You take away all the borders of the paper and you have nothing. But if you fill the hole, you have a completely good sheet of paper. That's the way with evil. Evil can only exist in the context of good. It does not exist by itself. So when we say God created all things, we know evil does not exist by itself. It's not a thing in itself. So God did not create evil. The power to reflect allows you to know that you are not an animal. Secondly, evil unmasks us and tells us that we're not machines. Machines are different from human beings, even though sometimes you feel like you're a machine. You feel like a cog, a breakable piece in the cosmic machine. And things are routine, and there's nothing creative about life. You feel like a machine, but you're not a machine. You are much more than machines. Saying, how can that be? How can we be much more than machines? Don't you remember the story of Garry Kasparov, the Russian chess master genius, was beaten badly by IBM's Deep Blue in a chess game? Sure, I remember that, but that's not a hard question at all. Because machines are only as good as their last programming. You probably knew that there was a Deep Blue team which programmed the superfast computer. They studied all of Mr. Kasparov's games and then adjusted the machines in order to beat him the second or the third time. See, machines can only do the same play over and over and over again. And when it's set up to the same play, that's what it'll do. Machines can choose between options, but cannot choose against an option like human beings can do. Machines can choose against a bad option if it's programmed to choose a good option, but it cannot not choose against a bad option if it's only programmed to do a good option. You can choose evil. That's called the power of choice. The power of choice is where we understand the origins of evil. Because when God first created human beings, He gave you and me the privilege of choosing against Him, not a machine. And we exercised a choice, not unlimited choice, but true, real choice, and decided that we will do evil against Him. When creatures began to choose against God, that's sort of a huge disaster that mankind is now landlocked in. That disaster affects natural evil. That's why we have volcanoes and earthquakes. It affects personal evil. That's why we do evil one to another. It affects moral evil. And we now choose bad options over against good options, and we know that we choose those options. See, freedom makes evil possible, but freedom does not make evil necessary. Just like an airline company is not held responsible for a hijacker taking a good plane and using it for evil, We cannot hold God responsible for making freedom possible. The airline company is not held responsible for making a plane or even for pilot error. It's just responsible for a good product. Your freedom is a good product, but we hijacked it and we've used it for evil. When you say, why doesn't God give me life without giving me freedom? It's like asking, why didn't God make me a machine? If God made you a machine, you wouldn't be asking the question in the first place. Unmasked, you're not a machine. I'll be back.